Last week, Canada's Minister for Immigration made a number of announcements related to Canadian immigration and visa applications. There were 10 announcements related to H-1B specialty visa holders, startup visa, digital nomad visa, a new innovation stream, global skills strategy, STEM and healthcare focused draws, and announcements related to visitor visa, super visa, and work permits. I'll share those announcements and talk about how they are relevant to you and what actions can you take for your Canadian journey. If this is your first time here, my name is Rashid Ali. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant from Canada, and in this channel I share videos on Canadian immigration, visas, and citizenship. None of the information shared is legal advice. If you need advice related to your circumstances, I would highly encourage you to book a consultation where we can dive deeper and you can get the right advice. The first big announcement is related to H-1B specialty visa holders in the US. H-1B specialty visa is related to certain occupations and has requirements like having a bachelor's degree. This visa is for US, and as of July 16th of this year, H-1B specialty occupation visa holders in the US and their accompanying immediate family members, they will be able to apply for Canadian open work permit for up to 3 years in duration, which means that they will be able to work for almost any employer anywhere in Canada, and they won't need a job offer to apply for this open work permit. And their spouses and dependents will also be eligible to apply for a temporary resident visa or a work or study permit as needed. These measures will remain effect for 1 year or until IRCC receives 10,000 applications. But most probably, these 10,000 applications will be submitted within a day, as there is a lot of demand. This program is a great opportunity for those workers in the US who've been laid off or who prefer to settle in Canada. Only the principal applicants and not their accompanying family members will count towards this application cap, so there will be 10,000 families applying for this work permit. If you're interested in applying, please subscribe to the channel or send me an email info@pcici.ca so you can be informed about the next steps. The second major announcement is related to Canada's startup visa. If you don't know what that is, I'm linking a video above and in the description. Canada is changing the temporary work permit option for SUV applicants and will now allow them to apply for an open work permit for up to 3 years rather than the current scenario where they could only apply for a 1-year work permit and they could only work for their own startup. This work permit will be available to each members of the team. Currently, only members of the team who are identified as essential and urgently needed in Canada were able to apply for this work permit, but now all of them can do so. The minister has also announced that IRCC will prioritize applications to make sure that those who are supported by capital or endorsed by a business incubator that is also member of Canada's tech network will move to front of the line for processing. Their applications will be processed much faster. Another major change in the startup visa program is that IRCC is tripling last year's target to 3,500 applicants this year instead of 1,000, and these 3,500 applicants will be shared between the startup visa program and the federal self-employed program. More announcements are also expected later this year. So the SUV program is becoming much more attractive now. Even though the processing times are long, you can now get a job or do another business if you wish to do so. And all the team members and their dependent family members can come, live, study, or work in Canada. If this program interests you, I can help you out. Third announcement is related to the global skills strategy. The Minister of Immigration has announced that the LMIAs and work permits for GSS will now be processed within 2 weeks each. They're going to return to that initial commitment. So if you're an employer who meets the requirement for this program, you can potentially have your employee working for you in Canada within a couple of months. The fourth announcement was about the innovation stream. Canada is planning to launch a new innovation stream by the end of this year, which will be LMIA exempt, and there may be 2 options. The first one is where employer-specific work permits or closed work permits for up to 5 years will be issued to workers who want to work in certain companies that have been identified by the government of Canada. The second option is where highly skilled workers who are in in-demand occupations will be able to apply for an open work permit without any job offer or an LMIA. So that is a unique program in itself. So if you're highly skilled, especially related to STEM, a lot of doors may start opening for you this year. So I would highly encourage you to write your IELTS exam, get your ECA, and create your express entry profile so your immigration and work permit ready. Whenever some opportunity comes, you can jump on it. The fifth announcement is about the digital nomads. Now, a digital nomad is a person who can perform their job remotely from anywhere in the world. A lot of countries have these kind of visas, and this option has been announced for Canada as well. Technically speaking, this option already exists because if you're visiting Canada, you can work for your employer outside of Canada remotely from here, provided you are in that kind of a job and your employer allows you to do so. But the government has announced that they will look into ways to make this more clear. Who knows, there may be a dedicated digital nomad visa where people can come and live in Canada for 6 months with the clear intention of searching for jobs. Maybe something similar to what the UAE has. So if you're looking to apply for a visitor visa and becoming a digital nomad, I can definitely help you out with your visitor visa application. By the way, to make sure you don't miss any updates related to the Canadian immigration system, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you know when I upload a video. I don't upload a lot of videos, typically one video per week. Also, I would encourage you to subscribe to my mailing list so you can receive all of these updates. I'll leave a link in the description. The sixth update is about healthcare specific draws of Express Entry. Last week, 500 healthcare professionals were invited to apply for PR through Express Entry category specific draw. The minimum score dropped 10 points to 476, and in the coming week, another 1500 invites are expected, which means that the score can drop further. So if your occupation is in this list, make an Express Entry profile as soon as possible. I'll link a video on the category specific draws above and in the description so you know what it is. Moving on, the seventh update from last week is about the announcement of STEM related Express Entry draws. So the first draw will happen on July 5th, that's Wednesday. So if your occupation is in this list, the scores will drop and there are good chances of you getting an ITA. If you have your IELTS and ECA ready, make your profile as soon as possible. The eighth announcement was related to temporary foreign workers in Canada. So those who are on a work permit will now be able to study without applying for a study permit. Initially, if you wanted to study for more than 6 months, even if you were on a work permit, you needed to apply for a study permit, but now you don't have to do so. But this temporary policy is only for those applicants who applied for their work permit before June 7th of this year. So this is not for new work permit applicants. But the benefit of this policy is that if you're working in Canada and you also get a 1-year diploma or a degree, you can increase your CRS score, and this will also make you more competitive for Canada's job market. The ninth announcement is related to temporary resident visa, also known as a visitor visa. You might have seen online that for some countries, visitor visa processing has taken a long time. It's still taking a long time, especially since the pandemic started. So those who applied for a visitor visa before January 16th of this year and they meet certain other criteria like they were 18 years or older, they didn't have a Canadian visitor, study or work permit refusal within the last 4 years, etc., their applications will not be refused for financial reasons or for failing to prove that they will leave Canada by the end of the period authorized for their stay, the infamous Section 179B of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Regulations. This regulation is usually a very common reason for visitor visa refusal. Now the officers have been given these instructions to not refuse applications based on these two reasons, provided the applicant meets other criteria. Like for example, they are not inadmissible for other reasons like health or criminality. I will leave a link to this policy in the description so you can read it in the detail. The 10th and final announcement is similar to this one, but that is related to super visa applicants. So for super visa, the inviter still needs to meet the minimum income requirements. The applicant should not be inadmissible for criminality, health, security reasons, etc. But their super visas won't be refused for 179B, failing to prove that they will leave Canada by the end of the period authorized for their stay. So these two policies will be effective for this year only, and they are not for new applicants. The goal is to clear the big backlog of applications that the government has. So if you have a visitor visa or a super visa application stuck in queue, you might have already received an approval. If not, you might see an approval in the near future. So I know these 10 announcements are a lot to process. It's been a very exciting week, but I tried to be concise to save your time. If you need more information or if you need consultation or guidance related to any of the above policies or any other visa or immigration program related to Canada, you can book a consultation using the link in the description. To stay updated with these and more changes coming in the near future, you can subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, you can join my mailing list linked below. And for those of you who want to be more active in your participation, you can apply to join our future community that will be launched later this year. The goal is for like-minded professionals to network, to help each other out with their Canadian immigration journey, and for those that are already here to help them with their jobs and inviting their future family members, friends, etc. There will be an application process. I will leave a link to this community in the description. The message is clear. Canadian government wants skilled people to come. They're taking many out-of-the-box initiatives to encourage qualified applicants to do so. Opportunities are coming. Just make sure you're ready to grab them. Take care.